Hello again. In today's episode of our Health Focus, we are talking about grief in the time of COVID-19, and this pandemic continues to wreak havoc across the country. Thousands have lost loved ones to this virus. Some families have also had to bury more than one person at a time. Well, during the first wave of COVID-19, our reporter Uveka Rangappa spent some time with a family that actually lost two people.
A heavy day for the Soyizwapi family from Bazia village on the outskirts of Mthatha. Two of their own lost to COVID-19 2 days apart. It's 7:25 in the morning, and as the two coffins arrive, strict hygiene measures are adhered to. A few family members are here practicing social distancing as they look on.
This is a very sad day for the Soyizwapi family. Really sad. Akuyontwana ukulahlekelwa ngabantu ababini. Bade babe ngomama lonto ithethe ukuthi umzi yavalwa ibhlungu kakhulu ayinyamizeleki ngaphezulu konke we cannot give them a decent funeral.
70-year-old Nomakhosazana Soyizwapi passed away last Friday at the St. Mary's Hospital after being admitted for the second time. Initially, she was admitted on the 11th of May for diabetes. Discharged a week later, she was nursed at home by her daughter-in-law, Lungiswa. The Sunday after Nomakhosazana's passing, 45-year-old Lungiswa died. Many family members have chosen not to attend the funeral, including Lungiswa's mother.
Ibhlungu lonto. Kulolungiswa umolokazana lo akukho nomnye umuntu ophumeleleyo. Uweske ukubana yena usenomama wakhe abakwazanga ukuza. Kanti ke nakulo mama akho bantu baphumeleleyo. Has got brothers and sisters asikwazanga kuza.
It's 5 minutes past 8 now, and these devout churchgoers are merely given a 3-minute prayer to bid them farewell. The only sign that there was a funeral here are the ashes that remain of burnt gloves. Aviwe Mtila, Bazia, Eastern Cape.
Well, this has become a sad reality for so many people. COVID-19 has turned so many lives upside down, and many of them suddenly too. Well, let's chat now to my colleague, Nceba Ntlanganiso, who has also lost loved ones to this virus. He was the cameraman on that story as well. Nceba, good morning, and condolences as well, and thank you for taking the time and finding the strength to actually speak to us today. You were the cameraman on that story with Aviwe Mtila. At that time, this was the first wave. You know, we didn't really know much about this. And, you know, we covered these stories not knowing whether it's going to be us or someone we know. When did COVID-19 become a reality for you personally?
Well, good morning, Evie, and good morning to the viewers as well. Around about September last year, that was the time I lost my aunt in Cape Town, and 2 weeks apart, within a week apart, her sister followed. And that's when the reality hits me the most. It was at that time. You know, because most of the time, you know, we've been going out since the COVID have hit our shores here in the country. We've been going out covering COVID stories. You can mention a whole lot of series of stories that we have covered. The first story that we have covered, it was the family in East London that have lost their daughter who died at the correctional center in East London. And then 2-3 weeks later, it was the insert that we've just played of this family in Bazia. And not knowing that as I'm covering these stories, this is coming to me as well. And when I lost my two aunts in Cape Town that I couldn't even go and bury as I'm based here in the Eastern Cape. It was very painful. It was kind of in a very short illness that have just taken place. I remember that we got a call that she got admitted in Grooteskier in Cape Town. It was on a Saturday afternoon. Well, we kept on having that hope, praying as the family that things will come fine. On Tuesday, when we got a call that she's responding very well, everybody was like, wow, we're happy that she's definitely coming home, not knowing that we won't see her anymore. And that's when this really hit us, that have really hit us badly, it was during that time.
So what were your thoughts at that moment? I mean, you know, if you're okay to share with us, and if you can't, that's fine as well. Just your thoughts at that moment, or maybe that one, your first aunt, and then the second one. I mean, what were the stages that you went through? We just spoke to a psychologist, you know, where you go through disbelief, then you go through anger. Those are some of the stages. Then going, why us as one family having to lose two precious people? What were your thoughts at that time?
Well, Uveka, you know, it was really painful, you know, because most of the time, as I was saying, that we've been going out covering these stories, not knowing that it's going to come to us. And it was really, really painful. And, you know, we couldn't shift the blame to anyone. We accepted the situation, knowing that it's something that we can't run away from. It's hitting everyone throughout the country. My aunt, both of them, they never got sick. We just mourned as a family, and it was difficult even for me going forward, covering these stories. Yeah. As I experienced this, what other families are experiencing as well. Another thing is, you know, when I go out going to cover these stories, when I speak to them, telling me of their pain, I could relate their stories because it have happened to me as well. Yeah. That's how painful the situation is. Worse that in a situation that you can't even go and visit them in hospitals. Everything is happening over the phone. We have to call the nurses or the doctors who are close there, who sees the situation, who gives you hope as well. That she's responding well, she's coming up fine. Yeah. But ending up getting into that kind of situation that she's no more. As I was preparing for this interview right now, I just got another call. My uncle, who just passed away about 30 minutes ago,
I'm so sorry.
Right here in East London. It's just traumatic. It's just.
I'm sorry.
It's just painful.
I'm sorry.
And you have to. That's a situation that we are living in.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Nceba, and I'm really sorry that, you know, this has had to happen, and, you know, especially so soon as well, one after the other. If you are able to carry on, chatting to us, how you speak of not being able to mourn your aunts and now your uncle as well, you know, what did you do? How did you manage to cope in terms of replacing the normal mourning rituals that you have to help you get through this time, to help you get through those feelings?
Well, I saw a psychologist who have taken me through, and that have helped me as to carry on with my work as a journalist. Of which the days that we're living in, there's nothing else that we are reporting. We can say 80% of most of the stories that we're covering or above, it's COVID-related stories. So another thing that keeps me going, of speaking to friends close by to me, who encourages me along the way. And to be physically active as well. Well, squash, it's one of the things that helps me as well to distress. When you hit that ball on the wall, going there to the squash court, being, you know, heavy-hearted, stressed, as you hit the ball on the wall, you know, when you come out, you completely forget, kind of wipes away all those kind of thoughts. You know, those are, as well as at the end of the day, one sits before I go to sleep and meditate of what I've been going through and having a quiet time of my own or personal devotions, you know, just to reflect of how the day goes by. And that helps me a lot. Yeah.
I would imagine that you absolutely need that with the constant reminders every day. Like you say, we're covering very few other stories. Most things are COVID related, if not stories of loss and tragedy like you are. And my hat's off to you, Nceba, for actually getting on and getting up every day and actually getting out there and covering the stories and bringing the realities to us as well. Your family as a whole, how have you managed to, I would imagine you are, from what I gather, in different parts of the country as well. How have you managed to help each other through this process? What are you doing?
Well, we keep each other communicating constantly, just checking on how we're doing. The family is scattered throughout the country in different provinces. It's just by making telephone calls. We couldn't meet even during Christmas. But just those conversations as we are far apart, just to check on how people are doing and giving advices where it's needed, what to use for immune boosters and all of those kind of things, keep advising and encouraging each other. Even during this time.
You know, we were talking to the psychologist before. You were talking about how people have had to change how they remember or how they get some sort of closure as well. Talking about, you know, sort of whether it's a Facebook post, whether it's something on social media, whether it's creating a video in tribute to somebody as well. You know, have you also maybe thought of how to maybe, you know, describe your aunts and your uncle and maybe, you know, sort of create a legacy for them to remember them by, or is that still in the making? Do you think that might help you?
Well, I think that actually that's what the family have already decided, that once we get over this, we will have some kind of memorial service for all of them, giving that respectful kind of burial or memorial service in terms of, you know, having the whole thing closing the chapter or bringing healing, complete healing to the rest of the family. Yeah, we already thought about it, and that's the only thing. The recent funeral, it was, as I've said, that it was my aunt right here in East London that we couldn't even, most of us couldn't even go and bury. Even the elderly, as elderly within the family, who are even here in the Eastern Cape, they couldn't even go to that funeral. You know, that's how painful the whole thing is. Yeah.
And what do you have to sort of say to yourself every morning to get going? Because I can imagine that this isn't easy. Like you say, you play squash, you kind of forget for a little bit, and then I'm sure it comes crashing down on you at some point, maybe in the, you know, in late at night or early in the morning before you open your eyes, and then you realize what has happened. How do you get yourself? Because you seem, you know, right now that you're able to talk to me just after hearing about your uncle. That's something most people wouldn't be able to do. So how do you get yourself, Nceba, to get up every morning and continue?
Well, Uveka, the first thing is, let me say that I really thank God that it's up until this far that I haven't caught the virus. I still can't believe it as well. Having to, you know, covering these stories, getting inside the hospitals, and, you know, seeing the worst of all. The first thing that keeps me going is it's every morning when I wake up, I'm like, wow, I'm still fine, I'm still healthy, I'm still okay, you know. But someone there is struggling, someone there is lying in hospital, someone there is lying in his bed at home, in isolation, you know, having to go through pains of being attacked by COVID. One thing that really keeps me going is I'm still healthy, I'm still okay. I need to go out and tell more of these stories so that you know, people can really get to know that this is reality that we're living with, you know. So that really keeps me going, that I'm still healthy, I'm still okay, I'm still fine. I still got strength to go on. and making sure, even though I cover the story, that I'm not an ion, I'm a human being just like anybody else. I can get this thing at a time, you know, but I have to comply as well, wearing face mask and keeping social distance and sanitize. And I've been coming back from covering those stories. When I get back, first thing I get to is come back home, jump into the shower, and leaving the clothes outside, making sure that I don't bring the virus into my family. It's just trying to be extra careful as I carry on working as well.
Nceba, did you at any point, or are you sometimes, do you find yourself trying to find someone or something to blame for why this has happened? Do you get angry at anyone or anything in particular? Of course, the situation itself, COVID-19, is not something we can see. It's an enemy we can't see. You know, we don't know where it is. Do you ever feel that emotion? Do you feel that anger and wanting to blame somebody or something?
Well, thanks for that question, Uveka. You know, most of the people, especially the journalists that I come across with, they always ask the question that, yes, you are brave, that you can get inside the COVID ward and come out with such brilliant footage. You know, when I went to the department, Eastern Cape Department of Health, in order to ask them to grant us permission to go and cover the story, they said that this is risky for you, firstly, and it's risky even for your family, even to all the people around you. My response to them was, I am prepared to go inside the hospitals and tell the story as is, because I'm sick and tired of the situation of people who don't comply. As the president took us to complete lockdown on the first wave, you know, people who don't comply, he will drive to our communities and see. During that time, at least now things have kind of, people complying. But on the first wave, you will drive and see, go and cover stories and see people not wearing a mask, see people just walking around and partying and all those kind of things. I'll be getting calls, you know, people telling me that we've got a story. There's a party taking place, you know. My point is, I got sick and tired of the situation of people who don't comply. We're in the situation where we're in now because of people who didn't listen. You know, that's what really forced me to go and inside the hospitals and cover this kind of story. I strongly believe that if we would have complied in the first time, maybe we would have been in this situation that we're in today. You know, well, that's my answer to that question.
I agree with you. Yes, That's, we want the vaccine, yes. You know, so the ball has been dropped on some level, but most of us have, contributed to where we are as a nation and where we find ourselves in terms of numbers. And Nceba, I just want to know very quickly from you, how is this, the personal loss, how has it changed you? Yes, your life has been changed. You're missing these loved ones. There'll be gaping holes where they were. But how has it changed you?
Well, it have developed in me, a strong character in a way of, when I go to, at first, I was reluctant, to be honest, to deal with the COVID stories. I was trying by all means not to. But as I go along, I started getting, that strong character of keep on going, covering these stories, Well, another thing is of getting confidence by seeing the nurses, the doctors, I remember when I was doing the tour with the Deputy Public Protector, I was scared to get inside the hospital here in Udenake Provincial Hospital. But seeing her, seeing the doctors talking to us so freely, I was like, oh, wow, can you see what the doctors are doing, getting so close? And, of course, having all the PPEs. you know, that have really gained me confidence. As a result, I ended up doing a whole lot of these stories. And I'm able now, even when I get a call from someone who's going through this tough time, I'm able to talk to the person. Recently, we've got that was past 2 weeks, two of our close family friends, the whole family. Oh. That's my pastor actually, the whole family got infected of the virus. I ended up going even there because they couldn't even go and buy themselves groceries, you know, going to the shop and do shopping and all of that, go and buy medication. I told them that whatever you need, feel free to call me. Yeah. I will go and assist. I'll be of great assistance to you of going to buy these medications and all of that. It has developed in me a very strong character in such a way that I'm willing to go and assist. As I've said, for example, the close friends of ours, the whole family ended up being positive. Yeah.
All right, Nceba, my heart breaks for you this morning. My heart goes out to you. I'm sending you so much healing love as well, and thank you. I can't thank you enough for sharing with us just this pain and this grief and this loss. Thank you very much for everything and for continuing to go on and share those stories with us as well and cover those stories. Tough, very tough indeed. Still to come, COVID-19 is threatening something that we as South Africans have come to view as a key part of our being, that's Ubuntu.